François reminded us that 2024, the situation was quite different compared to what we had in 2021. Remember, in 2021, following nearly 20 years of soaring Burgundy wines, the harvest was very small. We had lots of frost, which caused some soaring prices. These soaring or skyrocketing prices came when inflation was high after the COVID had a consequence in 2023, where we're in negative in the red by nearly -7%. Things have totally turned around. First of all, the situation with 2024 is quite different. The vintage 2024 comes after 2022 and 2023, a year when we had a harvest that was quite bountiful, and we have enough inventories and stocks. So we can be upbeat and hope that prices will remain quite reasonable with the 2024 vintage, and that we don't see these soaring prices. And of course, these wines are being less consumed on a global basis. There's still inflation, purchasing power is slower, and the market is more difficult. Having said this, Burgundy is in a position which is quite unique in France currently, since we are back in the black. This is the good piece of news I wanted to share since the beginning of the year. So after 2023, where we're in the red by about 7% on average between France, taking to place France and the exports, now in the first 7 months we are plus 3.2% in volume in the French market, with large retailers plus 2.4% in value, and with regard to exports, plus 4% in volume and 3.7% value-wise. So what can this be attributed to? This is due to the fact that consumers globally, the markets remain, well, they still have an appetite for the Burgundy wine, and this is due to the fact that with the 2022-3 of the vintage and the beginning of the vintage of 2023, prices again are reasonable, and once prices are under control in Burgundy, well, consumers feel like tasting Burgundy. Demand exceeds supply, and then we're back in the positive, so it's a very good piece of news for Burgundy. At the export, focusing on a few markets, the United States are in positive again, plus 7.4% in volume and 14.6% in value. This concerns, and it's interesting because it concerns a lot the whites, and especially the appellation régionale, that is our low entry, so that we can build on this base the awareness about Burgundy, and I hope that consumers come back to our wines, which are of a higher reputation. In Canada also is off, plus 9 in volume, plus 8 in value. Also, the appellations régionales are really pulling it off, mostly. A more mixed in terms of the UK and Japan, which are slightly laggards. What is interesting for us is also the pickup again of Asian markets, which we consider as our outsiders, on average plus 16% in volume and 15% up, nearly similar in value, with a good pickup again of China. This is an excellent piece of news. So plus 35% in volume since the beginning of the year, and Korea is faring quite well. And one last piece of information on the export, so we always pay attention a lot to our top 5. We have a new country that is part of our top 5, that's Sweden. Sweden is continuing to advance and was not even in the top 10 20 years ago, is now in the top 5. These are the good information. You'll get everything in a more detailed way, but these are the information I wanted to share with you. Maybe also share a concern that we have, which is important for us, which is the high variety that we see now in the past 10 or 12 years, from one year to the next. So there's a very telling graph in your dossier that shows the production of Burgundy wines in the past 55 years, I believe, and you can see that in the past 12 years, it's a seesaw effect, it goes up and down. We know the reason. It's due, of course, to the climate change. I've just mentioned the last 2 years, 2021, we had a major spring frost correlated to the climate change. That was the lowest productive year in the past 40 years at a level that was of now in 2022 1.8 million, the next year nearly 2 million, absolute record. In 2024 we are at 1,035,000. Shows you the seesaw effect. So it's very difficult therefore to have this under control, to drive this for our operators. It raises many concerns. Of course, we are highly involved in many projects in terms of research and development in order to adapt our vineyards, our vinification to these conditions, which are quite changing, and it's data that is real. And let me end by telling you our strategic goal for our wine board, which we started 2 years ago, which is about reaching carbon neutrality in 2035. We're well ahead about Europe compared to the European goals. So 2035 is very ambitious and requires a lot of engagement from all of us. And believe me, we, the wine growers, are aware of what we owe to nature, and we are highly committed. Thanks to all of you then.